Welcome to the Inspiration North podcast, inspiring stories from inspirational people and how they found their passion, their true north. I'm James Eves.
And I'm Michelle Minikin, and this is the Inspiration North podcast.
Today's episode, things won't always go to plan, but that's part of the adventure with Jenn Fenwick. We talk about building a business around doing the things she loves, how we use coaching to prevent leaders burning out, and how her boob tried to kill her.
Jenn Fenwick is a career transition expert and part-time adventurer. After a 14-year career working in STEM organisations to attract, retain and develop key talent, she created Rebel Road, the coaching solution to help leaders and STEM organisations navigate the complex world of onboarding and talent retention. Jenn lives in Edinburgh and works with clients across the globe to help leaders transition into new roles the right way. She provides strategic headspace away from the busyness of work and life so leaders can confidently navigate the challenges of new roles. Working with her has been described as rocket fuel.
So, Inspiration North road trip, and we are in Scotland with Jenn, but you don't sound like you're from Scotland. Where do you come from?
That was the best Scottish accent I've ever heard.
Flatterer.
Oh, do you know, I've lived in Scotland for like 15 years and I still
Really?
cannot do a Scottish accent. So,
Really?
yeah, and I think after a glass of wine my accent just gets more Kiwi. Not more Scottish. No, but you're right, yeah, I'm not from, actually, would I say I'm from Scotland? My parents were both Scottish. I went to primary school in Edinburgh, but I was actually born in Yeovil in Somerset.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
cider country.
Nice.
Yeah, but I've been in Scotland for 15 years. You can't tell at all. No Scottish. No.
Can you do your side of country accent, or is that another one that's...
No, do you know, I just actually can't do accents unless I do them accidentally. You know, sometimes when you're speaking to people and you suddenly find that you're starting to speak in a slightly different accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens all the time,
Yeah. So can you do a Kiwi accent?
Pin, tin.
Fifth, sixth?
Oh,
Is that numbers or...?
Hidden talent. Right there.
I don't know, I sound more Australian.
It's a difficult one because you're like, no, that's Australian, mate, sorry.
Yeah, you're terrible, Muriel.
Sky, where's my answer?
Oh.
Throw another shrimp on the barbie. No, it's Australian.
I'm starting
sorry.
to already wonder why did I sign up for this just to be. Honestly, my other half's Scottish and his family, sometimes they'll just sit around the dinner table and inadvertently all be talking in a Kiwi accent.
Bless you. Okay, so how come, having been born in Somerset and then going to school in Scotland, how come you have that accent?
Yeah, so after leaving primary school in Edinburgh, we moved to the Middle East. So we moved to Yemen.
That's your
I know.
On Yemen Street, Yemen?
That's
I know, yeah, exactly. I know. So my dad randomly he's a vet by training, and he took up a job working for the British Embassy. So we moved from Scotland to Yemen as a young family, and then spent 3 or 4 years in Yemen, and then moved to New Zealand, and then that's where I kind of picked this accent up. Where I went to kind of middle school, high school, university. God, when you put all the years together, you realise that you're not 21 anymore.
Yes, you
are. Oh, thanks. Just because we're born in the same year.
Yeah. All of us are.
So I moved to New Zealand and was there for up until finished university, and then moved to Australia, as you do, for a couple of years, and then found my way back to Scotland. So and now I've been in Scotland for 15 years. So like I say, when you add it all up, it's quite scary, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, just don't do the maths. It's just too depressing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so kind of come full circle. So a family full of adventurers, family full of people who kind of pick up and pack up and go seeking adventure, and kind of. I think this is the longest I've actually ever been in one place.
Oh.
Scottish man involved now.
Oh.
So, who's slightly allergic to the sunshine, but
Oh, really?
No.
Wow, so talk to us a bit more about your journey, because you work for yourself now, and you have been for ages.
Well, just over 2 years. I mean, and again, actually, that feels like the blink of an eye. So, because you know what it's like, it's a bit of a roller coaster. So, so how did that even happen? So, how far back should I go? So, I guess I've probably always had an entrepreneurial flair or approach to work, and as I said, kind of this, always loved adventures. So I always knew that at some point I was going to work for myself. So, and I always knew, but I just didn't know what that was going to be. So I had this sense that I would be running my own business, but actually it was kind of that finding out, what is that even going to look like? So working for myself is awesome. But it's been a total roller coaster. So there's been, loads of wins, loads of highs, but the odd tear along the way.
Yes, it's harsh. So talk us through your career a little bit to get to where you are now.
So I guess as far back as uni, I did HR and I did organisational psychology at uni in New Zealand. At that point, what did I actually want to do? Oh gosh, I had actually did first year law randomly. I know, which now looking back it just seems so wild. But the first year law and thought, no, this isn't for me. But I always had this interest in people. I was actually a sports coach even from the age of 16. So I had this kind of awareness that of the role a coach can play in helping people to realise and reach their potential. So when I dropped out of first year law, I thought, what do I actually want to do? And psychology grabbed me, but also from an organisational perspective, how do we work with people to help them reach their potential, but how does that then impact organisations? So that's what I did at uni in New Zealand. When I moved over to Edinburgh, I fell into recruitment. So I don't think nobody ever, when you're growing up, no one is like, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a recruiter. Like, just no. Maybe there's one person maybe out there saying me, but so I fell into recruitment when I moved to Edinburgh, and I actually loved it. It's actually perfect for me because I got to talk to people all day. When get to talk to people about their career aspirations, what's working, what's not working, and help them find that great role. So I actually loved it. I was working in the pharmaceutical industry, so I was working for a consultancy supporting all the top pharma companies. So I was getting to work, with people who were super bright, people who were doing really interesting work, and coming up, and getting to work, on such a range of things. So recruitment was a great kind of first role for me, and kind of over the last 14, 15 years, I progressed my career. So started as a recruiter, started managing a team. Then what I started doing is working closer with organisations around, how do they recruit the best people? So how do we look at kind of that talent attraction piece? But then pulling from my coaching background was, once you've got those awesome people, what do you do with them? Because it's not enough to just recruit them, and you'll know that organisations spend so much money on trying to find awesome people, and not just time, and not just money, but it's the time and the energy and the effort finding great people, and then often they fall short of supporting people either on board or developing their careers internally. So I started to do more and more of that stuff, which I loved. I was a global talent director for a Fortune 500 company, and that was an amazing experience. But I still had this niggle that I wanted to do something of my own, and so I guess I guess I'm trying to think about when it changed, and it's probably I was working for that company as a global talent director, and then I had a bit of a curveball. You're raising your eyebrow. So
you could call it a curveball.
Curveball, I don't know. So my boob tried to kill me.
Yep.
Sorry, James.
I'm just thinking of titles for the podcast.
My boob tried to kill me, I think.
I know. Oh, there you go. I know. I know. So Ben's like, don't swear, Jen. Whatever you do on the podcast, don't swear. But I did say boobs, so I'm really sorry.
Not swearing.
It's not swearing.
No. Past the BBC stuff at grand.
Okay, awesome. So we've still kept it like respectable.
Yeah, it's still clean.
Still clean. Awesome. Yeah. So that was when 2015 maybe. So I just remember I thought I was on top of the world. Like I had that global role. I had budget to build and grow a team. I was going to be able to do all this cool stuff, and I just thought my career I was feeling so good in my career. And then all of a sudden, in 2015, I found out that I had breast cancer. So my world just kind of, curveball, meteorite, I don't know, whatever that was. And so that was probably the worst, the best and worst thing that could have happened to me, because I wouldn't be sitting here with you awesome people doing my own thing, running my own business, doing what I love. And if that curveball hadn't come at me then, because that made me look at things differently and also think, why the hell am I waiting to do what I really want to do, and that's run my own business. So
It's got me thinking now. So
throw a curveball at you now.
So you're doing something you really enjoy and it's going in the right direction. Then you've got a roundabout moment where you're reflecting on things. I use the analogy sometimes at a roundabout where you keep going round without, and you're trying to choose the exit.
Like National Lampoon, Christmas Vacation.
Could
Summer
be.
Vacation one in London.
I don't think it's Christmas one. I've seen that a lot, and I don't remember roundabouts in that one. But
I don't know.
You're in London, it just goes round and round and round because you couldn't get off the roundabout.
Exactly. Yeah.
Chevy Chase.
So you keep going past it, thinking, "Oh, do I keep going on as the global talent director?" But then it's like, "Oh, but I've still got this desire to have my own business, do my own thing." So what you're effectively saying is that, I mean, it's a dark moment in many respects, because I presume you start to look more at mortality. You start to look at, what do I really want to get out of life? Yeah. Is that fair to say?
Totally, yeah.
What was different then? Because you were really enjoying the role. What sort of changed?
Oh, where do I start? Oh, we should have got the gin in, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we
should. Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah. I think that's a really, really good question, because I was loving that, and I really thought it was an awesome opportunity. And I actually had a really cool mentor who'd said, Jen, if you can progress your career to maybe that level, that will put you in really good stead for when you do decide to do something independently.
Okay.
So kind of I think that was where I was seeing. I think what happened was, finding out I had breast cancer probably accelerated me moving to do my own business, because probably the biggest thing I learnt, which is going to sound mad, but just this realization that you only have one life, and actually, and I read this quote not that long ago, and someone said, we have two lives. So the second life starts when you realize that you only have the one. Because actually, all of a sudden you realize that, and I actually, to us, I've always lived my life quite boldly and bravely and done loads of, I felt like driving things forward, and so I feel like I've been quite adventurous. But then when all of a sudden I had that realization that I always lived life like, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? So I always lived quite doing, well, go for it, because it will work out. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, actually the worst is happening. And I think in that moment, not knowing, because you don't know, you do feel so out of control, to think, well, actually nothing, what can I do to actually, there's nothing. I just had to release myself and to trust, the medical professionals around me. So kind of that, it was a year of treatment, but I think you get a lot of time to think around, like, right, so I'm definitely going to make my way out of this, but what next? Because it's you think, if I'm going to go through this, I need to make it worthwhile, so I need to come back and do something really awesome. But I still have to say that even in that moment, like those kind of 11 months, I was still working while getting treatment, because I really enjoyed my role, but it also helped to take my mind off stuff. But I still, in that moment, did not know what my business was going to be.
No.
So but even with all that thinking time.
So when do you think you reached that point then? Did it just come to you suddenly? in the shower or making breakfast or driving somewhere?
Yeah, do actually most of my best ideas come in those quiet moments, to be honest. But so interestingly, I after finishing treatment, I kind of finished treatment in the December. I came back in the January, and I'd literally finished treatment only in a matter of weeks, and I went back to work full time, which now looking back was madness. But I think nobody, I'm quite, I'd say, headstrong. So, I was like,
we've done that. We've got through my treatment.
Totally,
What's
yeah.
next?
I just came straight back. I was like, yeah, right, come back straight to work and go full time. And, and I think that was definitely, in hindsight, looking back, that was a bit of a mistake. But I came back to work full time, got caught up in corporate life, as you do, coming back working, traveling, doing all those things, and I burnt myself out. So you'd think, the cancer treatment didn't, it was tough, but actually what absolutely knocked me was returning to work and actually getting caught up in that corporate, the busyness, the overwhelm. So actually in that time, I actually decided to take 6 weeks off, and I said to the doctor, I said, I need actually some time. And they said, I can't believe that you're now asking us for time off now, to get to the point where, you're having time off now. So to actually take some time out to myself. And actually in that 6 weeks, I just decided I need to, this can't be it. Even though I was enjoying my role and I was getting a lot out of it, I was like, I don't know how long I have at that moment, because they were talking about, I had 40% chance of it returning in the first couple of years. So you think, God, I need to make the most of this. So I was like, took the time out. And I think we are really bad at protecting time to just think. And so in that 6 weeks off, I just sat with my thoughts, sat with a notebook, and I thought, right, if I could create, my dream job, if I could do anything next, what would it be? And I just mapped it all out, and I kept coming back to coaching, because even from 16, so we're talking a long time ago, so yeah, just a few years.
Yeah.
So even I've been a sports coach for many years, and then I've been coaching in organisations, I've been coaching my team, and I've been coaching leaders. And if I could do one thing every single day, what would it be? And it just kept coming back to coaching, and it was one of those aha moments. But how have I not thought about this before? Because I was like, if I, that's the thing I love the most. How do I then build a business around that? And I was like, right, well, you've got to go for it.
Because that's what it sounds. We always talk about people. We look back, and it's like, it was so bloody obvious.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, I was a sports coach. I loved working in recruitment and talking to people about their visions and careers and excitement and passion. And so you've obviously, I would imagine, in a coaching type role during a recruitment process with somebody.
Yeah.
Same with being a global talent director. It's all about getting the best people in and making them reach their potential.
Exactly.
To help an organisation to thrive.
Yeah.
So it's funny, isn't it? You sort of think back, it's so bleeding obvious. But
I know, yeah. And that's the thing, is this thing I did every single day, And even if I think back to high school, when people write their kind of end of year yearbooks, and everybody gets something really cool. Well, everyone wrote in my yearbook, Jen's so wise.
Oh.
Jen's so wise, everyone used to come to me with their problems, with their challenges, when things weren't working, even at that really young age, and they used to come to me, and I used to solve them. Right, I've got a solution for that, or I can help them with that, or, so it's kind of been something I've probably been doing, but it is, as you say, it's so bleeding obvious now when I look back. But I think it's also that, taking the time to really think about it, and then thinking about, right, if this is what I really want to do day in, day out, how do I make that happen? Because it's not just enough to quit my job, say I'm a coach.
People do.
Yeah, exactly. But how do I actually make this, how do I build a business around doing the thing I love? But it's that shift in mindset from starting to then collect all the evidence to back it up. Right, so this is now what I want to do. So then, how do I make it happen? And the more you start to think about how you can do it, and then the more you start to tell others that you're going to do it, all of a sudden it starts to happen. And that's, yeah.
Did you get any of the other types of thoughts where, like, right, I want to be a coach, but then your brain starts to go back to pick out all the reasons why I can't be a coach, why I can't have my own business, why I can't tell my family because they'll all think I'm crazy. Did you have to go through a period of dealing with those types of thoughts as well?
Yeah. And we all do. And I think that's what I love now that I specialise in working with leaders as they go through, as they transition into new leadership roles. So that's what I now focus and work with leaders in the first 6 months. And what happens is every time we're just on the brink of doing something exciting, every time we're about to take a brave step or go through change, we all have those fears and doubts. So all those kind of deep-rooted fears and those doubts, they all come to the surface. And that happens no matter whether you are just starting your first job or whether you are a senior executive. And every day I'm speaking and working with leaders, and everyone shares those same kind of deep-rooted fears. So yeah, for me, totally it was like, who am I to set up a business, or who am I to do all these things? But we always forget what all that experience and knowledge, because we always focus on the things that we don't have. And you're nodding away, so I'm wondering. Yeah. You've been there.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Numerous times.
Yeah.
Transitional periods, it's something I've worked on, I suppose, of not going to the reasons why this wouldn't work, but actually, well, when you consciously go back to say, well, here are examples where I've shown that there I've done this, there's definite evidence there, I've had feedback about this. I mean, in many ways, this is where some of the elements like the podcast has come from.
Yeah.
Talking to people, interviewing others, getting people to talk, really.
Yeah.
A face for radio, some people would say. So when you hear the signs enough, we were talking the other day about, we mentioned this in Dee's podcast, the first podcast, that Steven Spielberg, he would talk about your dreams don't sort of jump out at you like a big brass band with fireworks and dancing unicorns and jugglers.
If only.
So much easier though, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, totally.
It sort of whispers to you.
Yeah.
Very quietly, and you've got to listen very carefully, pick up on the signs, and then come to this conclusion of, actually, coach my own business. Let's roll. Let's do this.
Yeah. And do you know what the challenge these days, and this is for everyone, is that we're so busy, that we are so connected, we're constantly on. And I think looking back, when I was working in a global corporate role, I was managing a team, running multiple projects, had all these different touch points. Then when I was finishing work, I was playing netball, or I was doing something active, seeing my friends, and probably the only time I ever stopped was when I was sleeping. So I think this is a challenge for everyone these days, is that some of our kind of aha moments or best ideas and creativity lie in the times away from the busyness, and we don't give ourselves that anymore. So, we're just constantly on. And I think if I look back, maybe if I had given myself more time to just rest and just think, maybe that would have come to me sooner. Yeah. Or maybe I just needed my boob to,
Try and kill you.
Yeah, try and kill me. Exactly. I don't know. No. But then, is it? Yeah.
We'll get the wrong type of listeners if that is the title.
Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. Maybe you can cut that.
I'll come up with something.
Come on. Yeah. But we don't, and actually that's one of the things I do with my leaders now, is that, I kind of blend my coaching experience from the sporting world with leadership coaching, and also my kind of passion for well-being, and looking at it in a really holistic view, because actually, what I noticed after kind of burning out myself was looking at how many leaders have burnt out, and it's just, I think if I look back, at times I probably did prioritize work over everything, and it's good at times because you love it, especially if you enjoy it. Sometimes it can be really hard to set boundaries because you love it and you want more, but actually, it's not sustainable. So what I started to observe were more and more leaders burning out, and I just was like, there's got to be another way. So,
and that's the balance of priorities, isn't it? But then we've talked also with other guests about being able to show vulnerability, or that actually there's courage in saying, I'm going to switch off now. I'm not superhuman. I can't work 18 hours a day for 20 years without actually having something go wrong with my health or my family life or my marriage. But I almost wonder if is it a new dawn, a wave of it's okay to not be okay, as they often say, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. The work of Brené Brown has really sort of brought that to the forefront, and she's working with like massive organisations like the US military, and there's still going to be the typical, no, I'm a bloke, I'm going to cope with this stuff to the point where, look, now I'm dead. And so it is hard. So how do you work with your clients? Is it face to face, on the phone, on Zoom, or?
Yeah, it's a virtual world now, and that's and because I'm working now mostly with international leaders who are maybe traveling a lot internationally, or working for growing STEM organisations, tech or biotech, they're on the move. So actually that works really well for them. So I'm normally sat in Edinburgh, and we catch up via Zoom conferencing, and they can be in all sorts of different amazing places. And actually, it was really cool. My family, my mum and my sister live in Australia now. So a couple of years ago, I took a month off over summer, and I just thought, you've got to be, make use of all the perks of being your own business owner.
Yeah.
So I packed up and went to stay with my sister for a month, and it was awesome because I could be speaking to my clients around the world. I was feeling slightly guilty because there was beautiful sunshine constantly and out the windows, so I was trying to play it down, but
I think I remember the photos.
Yeah, I know.
She says resentfully.
No, but that's the thing, I think so much is virtual these days, and it's awesome because now I work with clients. I had a client in Brazil and North America, Australia, all over Europe, in the UK, and I've got a couple in Scotland. But people, so and I love it.
Cool. And so, what made you pick that first 6 months? What was the driver behind that?
So when I eventually just backed myself and left corporate life to set up independently, I thought, right, so coaching's awesome, and you'll know as a coach yourself, that coaching is an awesome tool. It can be used in a million scenarios, and that's awesome. But it's also, if you're running a business, it is probably the biggest challenge, because it's not enough to just say, hey, I'm a coach, because people just don't get it. Maybe in the US, they're much more used. Everyone's got a coach, but in the UK and in Europe, it's still burning away now. But what I said to myself is that your first year in business, I didn't know where I wanted to specialize, but I knew I wanted to specialize. I thought, let's just go for it. Let's just pick up different pieces of work, but different pieces of coaching. Let's see who needs me. So I kind of actually removed some of that pressure on myself in the first year and just said, have some fun with it. Obviously one needed to pay the bills, but just, really just opening myself up to seeing, where I could find my niche So at the end of the 12 months, 2 distinct groups of people were coming to me. And actually, both those distinct groups were the groups of people who I really love working with. So the first group of leaders who were coming to me for support were leaders who were really excited about having a new leadership opportunity, so starting a new leadership role, but they were allowing that self-doubt to creep in. So they wanted to absolutely smash it, as you do, but there were all that kind of those fears of, can I do it? Am I going to be good enough? Is this going to work out? We're coming to the surface. So they were coming to me and saying, could you work with me to navigate this time? Could you work as that kind of confidant to help me kind of build confidence and nail it? And I was like, awesome. The second group that were kind of coming out, that was kind of standing out to me, were burnt out leaders. So, global leaders who were coming to me and saying, Jen, I am absolutely burnt out. I can't keep going like this. Can you help me get back in the driving seat? Can you help me get back in control of work and life? And for most of them, the problem was that they didn't have a life. And actually, it was really awesome to be able to work with those types of leaders to then see, how you can flip it. So those two groups, that's who I thought, right, what is going on? So, so if people are coming to me wanting support then, but then on the other side, leaders are burning out, where can we do something cool? How can we use coaching to prevent people burning out and then also help them navigate new roles? So I thought, right, so let's look at where does it all begin, and that's onboarding. And what leaders were saying to me was, when we start new role, these leaders, most of them were coming to me paying out of their own pocket, saying, there's not the support in the organisations for me. It's assumed that when you bring in a new leader that they're just going to be able to get on and do it. But again, we're all human. We all have those same fears. And in fact, if you think about the responsibility of leaders, the pressure, what they're walking into, the expectations,
the uncertainty as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that having to navigate the ambiguity in a new role, so you can see that actually, leaders need, as much, if not more, support. And if you don't support them then, those were the leaders that were then going on and burning out. So I was like, onboarding, right, first 6 months. If I can work with leaders to help them, get, set good boundaries, to build in, health and well-being to their lives, and also, help them kind of navigate those first 6 months. What I was observing was those leaders were setting up good, healthy habits, but they were also going on and delivering awesome results. So you could see that actually they were the ones that were then going on to, be top performers, but they were also really relaxed as well. So it's like, right, so if we can work with leaders in those first 6 months, we can help them smash it in the job, but also we can help them, we can reduce the chances that they burn out. And it's awesome. I get to do this for a job. I love it.
It's just bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah. You must have had that because you work with organisations, so onboarding is just organisations fall well short.
I know they spend so much time, effort, money bringing in the right person, and then just expect them to know where they stand, where their boundaries are, how to lead. Quite often,
Exactly.
So all of a sudden it's like promoted from the individual contributor level up to a manager, and by osmosis, they're now supposed to know how to lead people, how to manage performance, how to, recruit people without any support, guidance, training, and quite often they fail. And I think it's that first 6 months, if they're getting thrown in at the deep end, they start thinking, this is not for me, and they end up leaving.
Yeah, and now it's kind of shifted. My clients have shifted from. I still get a lot of people coming to me as individuals, but now I've got organisations, and most of those organisations are organisations that come in, and I've come in to rescue a leader. So there's an example. A couple of years ago, I had this medical leader who'd been working with this organisation for 15 years. So they were a key talent, had done an awesome job, and they'd been promoted. They created this new leadership role for this person. They'd come in, so they wanted to create that position to retain them, but also to develop them. And then 2 months in, she resigned, like totally out the blue, resigned. And they were like, she'd been with them for 15 years, and they were just like, what's going on? So, so she decided, they said to her, look, let us support you. And they brought me in, and within a matter of hours, I worked out that, okay, so she needed more clarity around her role and responsibilities. She needed more support, which where I kind of was brought in. She needed to work on she didn't feel confident, but actually her confidence was linked to her just having some learning gaps, and the fact that she was putting so much energy and effort into proving herself in that new role that her health and well-being had gone out the window. She wasn't seeing family and friends and things like that. So that was within a couple of hours. And so, we worked together, and she just, she built her confidence. She closed those learning gaps. She took time out to set boundaries, and she went on to stay and be promoted again in 18 months. But the thing is, it's just such a shame that I was brought in as a rescue option. So what I'm saying to organisation is that don't wait. Don't wait for someone to wobble or leave or fail before you bring me in, or you do something. You build a better, more robust onboarding program for your leaders. And it's funny because when I talk to Ben about what I do, he was also coaching in the sporting world, but he hasn't really worked in corporate. But he's just he's like, why do they often give coaching when things go wrong? He's like, Usain Bolt, for example, because he always talks in sporting terms. But he's like, you don't just put Usain out and let him compete, and then when he doesn't get a gold, when he didn't get a gold, be like, oh shit, we better get him a coach. It's like, so and that's the same with your leaders. You've got these awesome leaders with talents, and but
it's the money they've invested already.
I know, yeah, I know. And actually, this is the where my mind. I don't want to get on my soapbox and have a rant, but I'll go anyway. But you do you bring you know how much money organisations spend to recruit people. Exactly, and actually, you help them save money. But
again, I only get called in when they've hired somebody bad and they have to replace them. By not following a process and not really understanding what kind of human that they want. So and then
once they have that awesome human, give them the best chance of success. And it's not the leaders I work with. It's not that they don't have knowledge and skills and talent. It's just sometimes just about having a sounding board, someone helping them navigate the noise. And again, we talk about that busyness. That actually, when you start new roles, it's just there's so much noise and so much going on that I just help them cut through all that, but it's just bonkers.
Organisations are bonkers generally, aren't they? Sometimes you just look and thinking, why are you doing it that way?
I know.
Because it doesn't make sense, and because they've always done it that way,
I know.
They'll keep doing it until somebody points out that you're losing people, you're wasting time, effort, energy, talent on stupid, ridiculous processes that have probably been put there as a band-aid.
Yeah, definitely. And that's I know. And that's the thing, is that they're actually spending ridiculous amounts of money and wasting money because actually, I've spoken to quite a few organisations that have said, we don't have money to invest in onboarding. We would like to spend more money in onboarding, or we'd maybe like to invest in coaching, but we don't have any budget. And I've said, right, how many people have you lost? What's your retention or your attrition rates? How many people do you lose? And actually, when they then look at, in the last 12 months we've lost X, Y, Z, and then you look at, what's the financial cost? Then all of a sudden it's amazing how there's suddenly money, because
it is bonkers. I was asked a couple of weeks ago, so Michelle, how do you recruit somebody that can cope really well with pressure? I'm like, you're asking me the wrong question there. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, why is the organisation so toxic that people are leaving?
With the pressure.
So what can you do to sort of mitigate that? Reasonable adjustments that you can make to make the job less pressured. By keep throwing humans on the pressurised cooker for them to burn out, explode, leave. It's just madness. And it's like, no, you're asking the wrong question. What's wrong with your organisation? You need these types of people.
I know that you don't want to bring someone into a toxic environment, let's look at where's that coming from?
Yeah, because nobody is 100% resilient all the time as well.
No.
People will burn out.
Yeah. And you know what? Good people won't leave. Like you'll spend all that money and you'll have all that amazing shiny employer brand, and then an awesome person will start and be like, "Hey, I'm calling bullshit." Like this isn't what you sold me.
No.
And a good person will have self-respect and will leave. So. It's bonkers that they
and have opportunities as well.
Oh, yeah. And do you know what? This is the thing, and this is why I work with biotechs and techs and pharma and that kind of STEM field. Is because it is once you've got people, there is a real challenge around talent. And you can't. So once you've got someone, you can't afford to lose them. And there's things that you can do to retain them. That everyone wins. So yeah. I'll get off my soapbox now.
And it's not just upping what the salary is. There's
No,
more to it than that, which is
a
wrong approach.
Yeah, and this day and age, if you look at, it's not even just millennials. I know people talk about millennials and their demands, but it's honestly just people now are less likely to. It's not about a shiny the biggest salary. People will take a salary drop, or they will take less money if they've got greater flexibility, if they've got a nicer environment, if they've got opportunities to develop, to learn, and just to breathe, But
I know. I think we're operating in a bit of a sort of industrial revolution-esque factory. Let's flog the living daylights out of all of our staff just to get the best out of them. And I think we all know around the table that's not the way to do it.
No. And the cool thing is that now we're starting to see more organisations actually lead the way to doing something different. And often it is the smaller organisations who are, maybe they are competing for talent and maybe they can't offer the biggest salaries. But they're saying, hey, come and work for us, and you can be part of a growing organisation, and you can, maybe have a 4-day week, or you can work from home, and people are like, cool, of course we're going to, leave that big stressful beast of an organisation and come and work for you, So and big organisations hopefully will wake up.
Some of them are, I think.
Yeah.
Or they go under, which a lot of, I forget who was talking to the other day in the startup. I don't know, it was Paul, was it?
Possibly.
Where he talked about, because of that inflexibility or the length of time it takes to change in a corporate because of all your politics, bullshit, bureaucracy, the smaller companies that have been set up to deliver similar or better services are much more nimble. They're starting to claw away at the market share of these bigger firms where there's alarm bells, but perhaps nobody's listening to them and it's too late for some companies. So it's, I don't know.
And then that's what I always think about, you spend millions on your employer brand and things like that, and then if people come in and it's not as you've sold it, you'll start to get a reputation. It's not just about losing your people. People will clock that it's not as sold.
I know, it's bonkers. All the Glassdoor and Indeed, you can review your employers, and
people talk. Especially in small, specialist fields, and people start to talk about who's good and who's not good, and
So the world of psychology is tiny in the UK, and it's really interesting how we all know each other, and it's the same in in tech and
totally,
and pharma. I think is very incestuous, isn't it?
So you start to build a reputation on where the good places are, so and who's got the high turnover. So
I know, and it's that kind of turning that perceived employer brand or the espoused employer brand and actually the actual employer brand. How do you fix that even?
And I think that's where onboarding is like a total. It can be a game changer for organisations because it just you say that your organisation's got this culture and these are your values and this you support people and you've got these development opportunities. But actually onboarding is it's an opportunity to engage people straight away. It's an opportunity to get them up to speed. It's an opportunity to help them socialise, to embed them in the culture, to win their hearts and minds straight away, and for them to, I mean, ultimately, what do people want? They want to just know that they made the right decision. So it's that onboarding phase. Organisations are missing a massive trick, and they, and actually getting people on board, feeling that they've made a great decision, getting them up to speed and retaining them. And they could just do some simple things up front to make that happen.
Yeah.
So.
I worked in an organisation a while ago, shall we say, and had a week-long onboarding process. It wasn't a huge organisation, it was about 700 of us. And, the MD came in and actually talked to us and made us all feel special. And there was offices all over the country, and everyone came together, and we all went out for meals, and it was just oh, good.
Yeah.
This is I've made the right decision.
Yeah.
But I have also started organisations that's kind of deep end. I'm not going to tell you what the rules are. This is your job description. Go mental.
Yeah.
And every time you said, "Can we do this?" No. No budget. And it's like within days, I was like, "Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I've made a mistake
and
here."
You were probably already plotting your escape plan, and that's what people don't. I think organisations don't realise that how quick employees will decide whether they're going to stay or go.
Days.
So 90% will decide straight away. So if you think that a desk, a laptop, a branded mug, and a pile of paperwork is going to get someone to stay, then you're having a laugh. Even a ping pong table. People don't really care.
Really shove your ping pong table up your butt, because if I walked into an organisation, I will never work for anyone else again. Yeah. But if I did, and there was literally a ping pong table, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, uh-oh.
But
a foosball table doesn't work either. But
exactly. And but you hit the nail on the head. The organisation that you walked into, that you were like, yes, this is it. You socialised with your colleagues, and you saw leadership was visible. And that's the thing that organisations make onboarding a process-driven thing, so it's not really onboarding.
Yeah. Here's the rules, here's the regulations, here's
about
quality
1 million
management.
SOPs, and here's all these things you have to sign, and here's all the
health
things.
and safety.
Yeah, exactly. And people are like, oh my god, I'm so bored already, and I haven't met anyone. But the people, and this is what people forget is you join the reason why people stay and why they leave is often to do with the people and culture.
Yeah.
So if you think that you haven't helped someone socialise early, or meet their colleagues, or kind of help show them what the culture is like, and really, then they'll leave. So on the flip side, you can do that quite early. That's really something that doesn't even cost that much to help someone socialise and meet their colleagues.
I've had sort of before you start, Michelle, let's go for a coffee with the team.
Yeah.
Which was really good, and here's a card to let you know how excited we are about you starting, because you've got 3 months notice.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just little tiny things that have to cost the earth.
No, exactly.
But no, if I'd had somebody there to support me in that role, that would have been just it's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's it. There's so many things that aren't expensive that organisations can do to really to make the onboarding process actually really engaging and to hook people. But as far as the leaders, I think it's worth investing up front, because I guess maybe because I live and breathe this, I just see it as a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But it's just like the cost of someone leaving and not working out. But one of the leaders, I've been working with her leadership team, and she said whatever means that her team she doesn't have to keep recruiting, because she doesn't want to do any more recruitment, and sometimes it takes 6 months, 12 months to find an awesome leader. You just want to give them the best chance of success, and that's what and that's what I do.
Yeah, I think the benefits of you being an external person as well,
totally.
Because if you're in the organisation, you might have kind of priorities set by your boss, and the fact that you're like totally impartial.
That's what people appreciate, and I think this is what the things that people tell me. It's like we were talking about before was, the fears that creep in, when you're about to do something bold and new. So the cool thing is that I'm independent, and that people can say to me, as many do, is that, I'm really excited, but I'm also shitting it, and what if there's any, leaders or people changing roles, that are listening in, is that what I'd like you to know is that everyone experiences this. We just don't talk about it.
No.
So and it comes back to that vulnerability, is that it's really tough to be vulnerable with your brand new boss and brand new colleagues. So a lot of leaders say to me, this is how I'm feeling. I'm maybe, I'm not sleeping. I'm not, I'm not sure quite what to do in this situation. So they can say that to me, and we can work through that. And we can overcome all those things, but it's really difficult for them to say that. You don't want to say to your new boss, "Hey, I'm feeling quite nervous, so I'm not sleeping at night." So the cool thing is that when I'm brought in to support the leader, that they can have these really honest, vulnerable conversations with me, and by the end of our session, they can walk out feeling good. And that's what I love. Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, so we always kind of wrap up with, we'll try to, we've forgotten a couple of times, but that's fine. With my favourite question is, Jen, if you could go back to 18-year-old Jen, what advice would you give to her?
Oh, goodness, right. So I'd probably sit her down with a bottle of wine.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah, it would be fun, but it would be kind of strange as well. I'm not sure. Do you know what? I think Ben, my other half, would be like 2 Jens in the world. Not quite sure that's a good idea. I don't know. 18-year-old self. Oh, so much. I would just say, keep making, have the adventures. But I think it's probably about, not being so hard on yourself. Release yourself from the pressure, and just, because I think that's the thing. I think you gather as you get older and take on more responsibility, and there's pressure around you. Sometimes you can take that on, and some of it, some of the greatest pressure that we experience is that comes from ourselves. So I think I'd probably just say, release yourself from the pressure. Things won't always go to plan, but actually it will be, that's the whole part of the adventure, and actually, you'll end up doing things that you've never imagined. Maybe
advice.
Don't drink quite so much.
Where's the fun in that?
Don't dance on tables. It always ends up badly. Just like to know I haven't done that in a while. But,
well, thankfully we grew up without Facebook and all that stuff.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I don't
University,
know.
Facebook would have been horrific.
But do you know how cool was it? Do you remember, like, when you had a night out and you took your camera roll to go and get developed, and if you're feeling flush, you'd like get it done in 24 hours.
Yeah.
But, if you're on a student budget, you'd wait a week to get the photos.
And they're all awful.
They're all crap. Because you're all drunk.
I know.
Exactly.
It's like, blurry, red eyes.
Exactly. I know. Off the floor.
No.
So it'd be a different world back then. But life is a bit simpler.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Cool. So thanks, guys, for having me, for coming up north on your adventure.
Up to Scotland.
Oh, you did. You've been holding on to that Scottish. I love it. So every well, maybe you guys need to go global as well.
We are. We're actually listened to on all 5 continents. If there are 5 continents. I had an argument with Oliver, my little boy, this week. He reckons there's 7 because of Antarctica and the top and the bottom bit. So we made a plan to Google it, which we haven't yet. So there might be 5, there might be 7. I don't know at this point in time. Oh gosh, James, don't do this to me.
I know, don't.
But no, we are actually global.
That's exciting.
I know. So we're down in London next week. So it'll be like Giza.
Are you?
No, we won't.
No.
Don't worry.
It's fine. I'm still waiting for James's.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, come on, do it, please.
No one under pressure.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm trying to think what the best lines are to come up with her. It's usually where she's like, is that where that's like the interview where she's phoning up? She is phoning up You for tonight, Doubtfire, dear.
Oh, that's good. More.
I know. He's so entertaining to be
Why
around.
did you save this to right at the end?
We could have done the whole interview in Mrs.
Oh,
Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire with Kovacs, the wee cheeky monkey.
Oh, it's glorious.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you're getting, folks.
Oh, do you know my face hurts from laughing with you guys so much? Honestly, you should have give me
Warning, health warning.
Health warning. Yeah.
Too much giggling.
Yeah. Awesome.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Jen.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, bye.
Thanks everyone for listening. Check out all the show notes at inspirationnorth.com. Join us again for the next episode when we'll be chatting to another inspirational person. If you like this, subscribe and tell your friends. If you didn't like this, subscribe anyway and tell everybody.